You can't start hormones after you're 60 years old, or you need to stop your hormones when you're 60 years old, any iteration of that statement. Now, we've talked about that before. I made another video or two about how late is it to start hormone replacement. That is one of the many things that got very muddled and misunderstood because of the Women's Health Initiative study that we all know all about now, that was published in 2002 and scared us all into thinking hormones were harmful. Well, very long story, very short. Part of that study suggested that women who took hormones starting after age 60 had a higher incidence of certain things like heart disease, stroke in particular. Well, remember, there was a whole different population than you individually represent. These were a bunch of very unhealthy patients, and they were most importantly taking a combination of hormones that we don't use anymore. So since then, there have been other studies, including one that's really important to understand called the Early versus Late Intervention with Estrogen Trial, ELITE trial, looking at women taking estradiol, not the horse urine that they took in that Women's Health Initiative, but body identical estradiol, women taking it in the first 6 years of menopause, and then women taking it later than 10 years into menopause. In other words, starting it when you're, say, 50 to 55, or a different group starting it, say, over 60. What they found was that the women who started it younger had a dramatically decreased incidence of plaque buildup in the carotid arteries. So the study didn't last long enough. It wasn't designed to last long enough to see how many people had a heart attack 30 years later, but indirectly measured how much plaque built up. Well, women who started it early had a dramatic reduction in plaque buildup. Women who started it over 60 had no difference. It wasn't increased, it was just unaffected. So what we can say possibly from that is if you choose to start estradiol and you've been in menopause 10 years or more, doesn't matter how old you are. I mean, you could be 60 and just went through menopause last year, which would be totally different. So years since menopause, if you start more than 10 years since menopause, there is evidence to suggest that you will not have the benefit for reduction in cardiovascular disease. You won't have an increase either, you just won't get that benefit. So it's got totally muddled up. Not getting a benefit is very different than saying you can't take it. Okay, so if I'm not getting a benefit for cardiovascular disease, why would I start taking estrogen when I'm 62 if I'm 12 years past menopause? Well, I'd still get a benefit for my bones, my vaginal health, my sleep, my skin, every other thing, just not cardiovascular disease protection. So just an example of how that's got muddled over the years. So absolutely not true that you cannot start it. We just look at your history and see, well, what benefit could we get? What risks might we have? And we do an individual assessment for each patient. The other flip side of that wonky statement that we hear is you have to stop your hormones at a certain time, maybe 60, 65, you name it. Well, you don't. The benefit of taking menopausal hormone therapy is lifelong, so we would not want to stop it right when our risk of diseases like osteoporosis, colon cancer, Alzheimer's, heart disease are going up. So the current suggestion is we start on it early if possible, and we take it forever. And if anything changes, we'll let you know, but that's what science supports at the moment.